VocalEye Almost Live Zoom. Vancouver Writers Fest Literary Cabaret 2023. Hosted by Amantea, with special guest Sarah Wang.
Welcome to this VocalEye Almost Live event. I'm Amantea. I use she, her pronouns. I'm proud to be the Associate Director here at VocalEye. I'm your host for these Almost Live events, and I'm very proud to be part of this generous, loving community. You all are so welcoming and warm, and I love the bones of each of you. So thank you for sharing your space with us on these Wednesday nights. And thank you for all that you do to support VocalEye. You've shown up in this space Wednesday after Wednesday. You've supported us by writing testimonials, by opening your pockets and your purses and your wallets and sharing your financial contributions with us. You've signed up for our newsletters. If folks are watching this on our YouTube channel, you can do the same. We would love that support, but you can also support us by hitting like and subscribe if you're joining us on the YouTube channel, and check out our website at www.vocaleye.ca. VocalEye is broadcasting to you all from the traditional and unceded territories of the Coast Salish peoples, the Squamish, the Musqueam, and the Tsleil-Waututh First Nations in particular. And last week in this space, I shared with you all about the new language nest that's been brought over here where I live on the North Shore at Squamish lands in North Vancouver. And in relation to that, I've just learned that coming up on March the 31st is National Indigenous Language Day. And since the language nest is now a thing here, literally right in my neighborhood, to support the Squamish Nation and creating the next generation of language speakers, first speakers of their language, because they haven't had a first speaker of their language in more than 90 years. I thought that this was a nice companion piece to that. So National Indigenous Language Day. This day is to celebrate and honor Indigenous languages in Canada. The decade from 2022 to 2032 is also the International Decade of Indigenous Languages to promote the use of Indigenous languages worldwide. This day is an opportunity for Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples in Canada to recognize and celebrate the very rich and diverse heritage of Indigenous languages. Indigenous languages embody Indigenous culture and histories. Languages are deeply personal, and they connect individuals, families, and communities across generations, distances, and differences. They are integral to Indigenous culture, self-identity, and well-being. Languages carry stories, the memory of those who came before us, and the promise that we hold for those who come after us. They convey wisdom and traditions from elders to youth, from one generation to the next. In some of my work around decolonization and learning about indigeneity and being in spaces with Indigenous peoples myself, I've had the privilege of being in spaces where traditional welcomes have been shared from many folks from different nations. And the sounds of these different languages is like listening to music. They're beautiful and rich and glorious to listen to. And it saddens me to know that colonization has destroyed these languages. So I'm happy to hear about these days. I hope that these kinds of things is a way of joining in the joining in and being able to allow language to be brought back and for people to reclaim their languages, and that it's not just lip service, because lip service doesn't do us any good. So anything that I could personally do to support people reclaiming their language, I think that's an important thing that we should get behind. So that's my thought for this Wednesday, the March the 20th, 2024. And tonight in the Almost Live space, we're offering you our Almost Live event number 148. And from the Vancouver Writers Festival, this is the Literary Cabaret. And our special guest in the space tonight is Sarah Wang. Sarah.
Hi, Amy.
How are you? There's your square. Welcome back. It's been a while. It's been a hot second.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm super excited, and thank you so much for that great introduction.
What have you been up to since the last time you were in this space, mate? That must have been When was the last time you were in the space? Was that last Writers Festival, or was it the photo capture
I think it was probably capture. It was
capture
around the
photography?
same time. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
spring. Do you mean personally or professionally?
Oh, I don't know. You are personally and professionally, one person, so
Thank you. Well,
share.
the reason that I asked is because I'm really excited to let you know and let everyone know that one of the biggest things that has happened to me, and I told Lindsay right before our event, is I planted 10 shallots. And I know maybe that's not a very big deal, but I've never planted shallots before. So maybe the next time that I'm here, I'll let you know how they taste if they grow.
If they grow.
Yeah.
I have planted shallots before, and I will tell
Oh,
you, I
nice.
was not successful.
Okay,
I was
yeah,
not
I heard
successful.
it's hard. I heard
Yeah,
it's hard, but I couldn't help myself. I was at the garden store and they have everything.
good
And
for
yeah,
you.
so I'm really excited about spring. I've been busy. I've been enjoying the weather.
Good for you. Good for
Thank you.
you. Um, yeah, I gave up on planting a garden these last couple of years just because it's so much work. I put the seed
It is.
in and nothing comes out of the ground. The only thing that I can grow really, really well is
Mhm.
lettuce because it literally grows like a weed.
But it tastes so good
I
though,
know, I love it,
right?
but I can't, it grows faster than I can eat it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I don't
Nice.
like washing it. That's such a chore.
Right, right,
Washing is a
exactly.
chore. So
Yeah, it is. You win some, you lose
it's a first world problem, Sarah.
some.
It's a really a first world problem.
Yes.
As I complain about washing lettuce and hear myself complain about it. So the Vancouver Writers Festival this year, well, I guess it was last year in
Yep.
October. And VocalEye has in the past taken groups of folks to the live event.
Hmm.
But last year in October, I want to say it was October 20th. For some reason, that date actually sticks in my head. But maybe that was the
Hmm.
year before. But there were there was another show happening on the same night.
Right.
So we weren't able to be in two spaces at once with the community. So we unfortunately didn't get to take folks to the space live. But you were there
Right.
live, and I would love for you to give us a little bit of background on the Writers Fest and
Okay.
maybe share with us a little bit about what the experience was like for you.
Right. Thank you, Amy. So the Vancouver Writers Fest, it's a literary arts organization. We're located on traditional Coast Salish territories. The particular name is called Sanok, and it's also known as Granville Island. We're really in good company. There's so many amazing arts organizations there and artists as well. So we run year-round programming, and we're best known for our October, third week of October week-long festival. And every year we have about like 80 plus events, like nearly 120 authors from all over the place come. And yeah, and one of our best known and most enjoyed events is the Literary Cabaret, where we kind of marry author readings and live music in the background. It's a very large space where usually when you go to an event, you have to imagine that, we're in a static theater place where it's just rows after rows of seats. But this, we have an empty room where we can actually put in round tables where you can sit and enjoy like a drink or have some snacks as you're watching a show. The authors still stay on stage, so they don't come down to mingle or anything, but it's just a very it's a very exciting environment. And last year we had 6 authors, and it was great. It was amazing. I'm going to be really honest with you. I was standing in the back and eating a bag of churros, so it's extra amazing. But yeah, so that's a little bit about us.
Okay, that sounds like fun. And this is the 36th annual
Yes.
Writers Fest.
Yes.
Now, I imagine since this was just this last October 2023, are you
Mhm.
all starting the planning for the Writers Fest 2024 now?
Yes, so your timing is great. We're kind of in the kind of climax of that, I would say. From now until the end of April, we're meeting with publishers to talk about really interesting and exciting books. But It happens all year, right? You never know when a great book or, a very exciting story is going to be pitched to you or introduced to you. And to be honest, some of the authors that are coming this year, we secured it before we even had our festival last year. So it's just
Right.
constantly going, which is really exciting as well.
And so when you bring these authors in, you have to
Yeah.
like book them accommodations and
Yes.
flights and all.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
Yes. It's I will say this. I used to be really excited to travel. In the past couple of years during the pandemic, I have traveled vicariously with these authors, and I think I'm good for life.
Yeah.
I'm happy to live in Vancouver.
I don't blame you because once you I know once you go through enough sort of like hiccups with your own
Yeah.
travel and then you got to book
Yeah.
other people's and you're like, "Oh, man, like
Yeah.
why am I putting myself through this? This is
Yes.
stressful."
I
Yeah.
like my home.
Yeah, that's right. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the good old Star Trek Zoom Me Up Scotty way of traveling so that I
Okay.
can just be beamed anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
The
So you
whole
see
the whole
time.
quantum physics thing. Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
Yeah, that would be the easiest way. And if you leave a couple of particles of yourself, well,
Hmm.
that's the consequences. Um, all right. Well, back to the Writers Fest because I think this cabaret is a wonderful idea.
Hmm.
In that you've got artists and music and readings, and what could be better than those three things in a space?
Hmm.
So tonight we've got the recording of it.
Yes.
The audio is it's a really nice professional recording, which is great. Um,
Thank you.
what are we going to witness tonight as we go through this? Anything you want to set up for us?
Yeah, so I know VocalEye has met many amazing members who have probably enjoyed the Lit Cap book before, either in person or were here for the past couple of years through Almost Live. But for anyone who's new or who just needs a refresher on this, we're going to start with the band. So we really start with the musical director, with a few of their songs. So we have a new musical director this year, and their name is Benjamin Millman, and the band is called the Oxymorons. And
Nice.
they're going to play some music just to get people, in the mood, and also from the background, you'll also know that it's because we have late comers who want to find their seats and everything. So yeah, so just to give everyone some more time, we have 6 authors in total. 3 will go up on stage one after one to do a reading from their books. There are no the introductions aren't very long, so if there's anything that we want to discuss, I'm more than happy to afterwards. And then after the 3 authors, we have a short break, and then the next 3 authors come one by one, and the musical director gets all of these books the previous summer, reads them, and then they have to score them. So for us as well, being staff, right, like we might know the books and the authors real well, but it's still our first time to hear the music. And it just always, it's so exciting to see how, amazing some folks are who can read and then hear the music, right, and then write it. So I'm really excited.
Awesome. And then when we have this short intermission, you and I are going to come back and just talk about the
Yes.
first 3 authors just for a few minutes, and then we'll
Right.
play the second half. So just so folks know, there'll be like a 3 to 5 minute intermission where Sarah and I come back and unpack some stuff. And then Sarah's going to stick around at the end for some Q&A. So she's
Yes.
going to tell us where we can get these as audiobooks if we want them. She's going to tell us, answer any questions about the artist because she's pretty familiar. Doesn't know everything. If you're going to ask them whether they're vegans or what color their house is painted, she may not know that, but
Yeah. Probably not.
but she's pretty familiar with these, so feel free to collect your questions in your mind and bring them forth afterwards. So I'm excited to get rolling on this, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Amy. Me too. It's always great to rewatch it.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Rick, when you're ready, let's hit play on the Literary Cabaret.
Due to copyright restrictions, this feature presentation has not been recorded. Please check below for more information, including links to the material if it is hosted elsewhere.
All right, Sarah, we're back. We're not taking 15 minutes as he suggested. We're gonna just take 3 to 5 minutes, and folks can have a little bio break or grab a drink or sit and listen to us chat for a few minutes. I'm wondering what your reflections are on the first 3 authors. Favorites, standouts. Have you read any of these books? I have not read any of these books.
Yeah, so I will just say that when I was there and just right now when we were replaying it, the first book by Elaine Feeney, I was just blown away by the music. It was very Irish to me, so I just thought, wow, like it transported me. I was telling everyone that I think in one of these past lives that I've lived, hopefully I was an Irish person because I felt it so much. And I remember at the event I was actually in tears because it was just so moving. um Kai as well, Kai had his family there, so the
Yeah.
last author that we just heard, and yeah, and both of his children was there, his partner was there, so it was really great to kind of watch him speak a bit and then look at them, and they were all very excited as well. But I will say that just literature wise, I have loved Jenny Erpenbeck for a very long time, and I really appreciated that reading. I thought it was great. I was saying that she read a lot about the price inflation in Germany, and I was like, I never thought I would actually be excited about that, but I was.
Yeah, what was interesting to me about the book that was set in Germany was that the book is written in a different language and
Yes.
then translated to English.
Yes.
And so I wonder what gets lost in translation in terms of phrasing and
Right.
like, like kind of the poetry of language, because, authors have this way of crafting words that,
Yes.
I studied German in high school for 5 years. It's a really hard language.
Yeah.
And it doesn't translate very nice to English
Yeah.
right? And so I wonder what we lose as an English listener, because some of it sounded to me to be like rather plainly written in a way. Like,
Right.
it wasn't
Yeah.
I wouldn't have said that it's exceptional writing, even though I thought it was an interesting story. But I bet you if you're reading it in German, that writing is much more enticing and evocative and interesting to listen to. But this is a translation.
I was thinking of that too. I don't know that much German, but I know that, they like for a lot of ideas, complex ideas, they would just make words very compound.
Yeah.
So I too was thinking, wow, these are very like almost Hemingway-esque sentences, right? They're very to the point. So I too wonder if this is a translation issue. And I really appreciated when Jenny also said, like, there are some parts that she's reading for the first time in English. And
English. Yeah.
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be interesting to hear what her reflections are on that translation, or if she gets
Yeah.
involved in the translation in any way at all. I don't know how those pieces work out, but
Yeah.
for me, I would say Kai's book probably would be one that I would go source out and try and get a copy of. Now, I know that you're going to tell us about how we can get copies of these
Yes.
audiobooks and maybe breaking them up into chunks 3 by 3. This is going to come out in the follow-up email as well, friends.
Right.
So you don't have to like grab a slate and stylus or a recording device or whatever. It'll come out in the follow-up email. But where can folks get these 3 authors' books?
Okay, so for the first book, Elaine Feeney, that's the only book in these 6 that it's not available on Sela yet. But I can go ask, when it will be. Right now, it's only available on Apple Books, which is the app on the Apple iPhone. And yeah, and for Jenny and for Kai's books, they're available from Sealet. They're also available from Apple Books or Audible. So in case someone has like a favorite app that they want to listen to them on. And the other thing I wanted to note was that none of these, unfortunately, are actually read by the authors. So they're all, I guess, like audiobook readers.
Narrators? Yep.
Yeah.
That's okay. Not every author needs to read their own book.
Right.
Okay, and for folks who are not Canadian, CELA is our Center for Equitable Library Access, I think is what it stands for. It's a Canadian audiobook place. Kind of, I think maybe similar to what do they call that in the States? Is that the Congressional Library or something like that? So maybe check out where you get your audiobooks in the States, because it's very well possible that these are probably there as well. Because
Right.
I think CELA may be able to get some content from what the States has available. So there might be some crossover there. So check. Or there's Audible if you have an Audible account.
Mhm.
Awesome. So how do we want to set up the second half here, Sarah?
So I do believe when the people come back from intermission, there's still a little bit of a musical intro. And then we have three more authors. And these three authors are all American. There is one individual who was born in BC, but they all live and work out of the United States now. There's historical fiction, there's just great readings. Um, Again, I'm sure we'll talk about this more when we come back, but yeah, it's a really nice list. And once again, we'll have very brief intros for all of the authors before they come on stage. But yeah, and I know we'll talk more about it afterwards.
Sounds great. I'm ready when you're ready. You ready?
Yes, thank you
Here we
so
go.
much.
All
Thanks,
right,
Rick.
Rick, let's hit play on the Vancouver Writers Festival Literary Cabaret Part 2.
Due to copyright restrictions, this feature presentation has not been recorded. Please check below for more information, including links to the material if it is hosted elsewhere.
That was the 36th annual Vancouver Writers Fest Literary Cabaret. 6 authors with musical backings. Welcome back, Sarah Wang. So Sarah,
Thank
that was
you.
fun.
That was fun. Long night.
Yeah. What were your top reflections of these 3 artists, since I asked you about the first 3 artists?
I mean, I think again, like the books are so different. I was really interested in Tania James's book. So that was the first book out of these 3 when we came back
Yep.
from break, and mostly because it was talking about this actual work of art that is currently on display at the Victoria and Albert Museum, I think it is, in London. And yeah, and I heard her discuss a little bit more about it, and I just think it's great. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever be at a position in life where I can commission a work of art that is a very violent depiction of deep colonialism.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I can appreciate it vicariously.
Yes.
So yeah. So I love how she, imagined the artist of the work, right? Because we don't know too much about them. So it's a really nice kind of platform for another story.
Yeah. Yeah, that one really resonated with me too. And I actually really enjoyed the way that she read it. I
Yeah.
thought it was a really dynamic read.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us briefly then where folks might be able to find these in an audio format.
Right. Okay. So all 3 of these books are available from CELA. And then I believe all of them, I'm just doing a little scroll on my notes. I believe all of them are also available either on Audible or Apple Books. They could be available on other major platforms as well, but those were the 2 that I checked. And yeah, and again, they're all read by different audiobook narrators.
Awesome. And we'll send this around in the follow-up email as well. So
Yes.
again, you don't have to feverishly gather your notes, but if you're interested in checking out these books, you can do that. Sarah, have you got any, like, I don't know, tidbits or insider secrets, or I don't know, things that you can share about any of these artists? Interesting facts?
I will say this. Well, so as you know, I really like film as well.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, during the summer when Barbie and Oppenheimer came out, everybody was super excited and we all went to go experience it. And when Elaine Feeney came to the Writers Fest, she was the first author in this group to speak. And we also had another author named Liz Nugent who came here as well from Ireland. She is a mystery and thriller writer. Both of them told me that they see Cillian Murphy all the time because apparently he just he lives close to everyone apparently, and he loves to go out and walk his dog. And they say, this is the best part of being Irish, is just that, the first of all, the population is small, the land is small, and the arts community is small. So like, if you do well in one area, everybody knows, right? And everybody cheerleads you on. So everybody was really happy about him at that time being the front runner for the Oscar. Of course, he won the Oscar a couple of weeks ago, but everybody was just so like, we don't understand you North Americans being so excited about him, because he like literally walks the dog every day.
Yeah. He's
Normal
just an average Killian in their town. Yeah.
Exactly. So I really like that. But yeah, I'm sure there were lots of great tidbits that I was not privy to in our hospitality lounge. That opens in the nighttime when I have to go to bed. So yeah.
Gotcha. And who's invited into the hospitality lounge? Just the artists? Like just the authors and staff?
The authors, the staff can go, if they're awake and they're energized, and then there's some kind of publishing industry folks. So there are some editors and publicists that make their way out to the festival every year, and they sometimes stay in the hotel as well. So it's just downstairs for them. That's when the night really starts. So Lit Cab, as you know, right? Like it ends around 9:30 p.m. to 10, and we're all exhausted, but these authors are so pumped up, and then and they go to the hospitality suite, and it's just another party after that. So I'm constantly surprised at people's energy levels.
Me too. I'll just say me too, because I don't know how people do that. But then again, they're not like, excuse me, I'm gonna cough. Excuse me. They're not setting up the tables and working with the public and all of that kind of stuff that goes into putting into a festival before it even opens, right? So, they just get to relax all day and, do some voice exercises and, eat their 3 meals before they come in. Okay, that may be sounding a little too privileged, but you get what I'm saying. They're not doing all of that heavy lifting. So by 10 o'clock, you are exhausted and you likely have to strike or take some stuff down. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get that. Okay, well, I want to remind folks in the space that if they want to share any thoughts on what they listened to tonight or heard tonight, if they want to ask Sarah, any questions, this is your space to do that. Maybe you also have a favorite book or an author. Maybe you want to recommend an author. I don't know what kind of clout Sarah has, but Sarah reads a lot. So if you have books that you want to ask Sarah about, this is also a space for you to do that as well. Doesn't take long. Okay, Megan, come on in. Just give Megan a moment to unmute. This is when the gremlins come out at night. Sarah, have you read all the way through any of these particular books from these authors?
Yeah, I've read most of them. I'm still, because as you know, I'm a very, very slow reader. I read them in order of their appearance tonight. So yeah, so I mean, a lot of them I don't remember like the itty bitty details, but overall, like it was just a joy to read. And it's really interesting because sometimes when you read them, I might not think immediately, okay, I'll put them in the lit cab, but Leslie, who is the artistic director, does, and then it just works, So I think some of these stories, they resonate in different ways, and it's just great to hear them.
So how many submissions do you think the lit cab gets?
So it's not exactly submission based. Like everybody who we invite potentially could be put into it, and I think sometimes Leslie might at the beginning of the year already have an idea of at least a couple of people that she really wants to put in. But we have over 120 books, I would say, every year. And we'll pick and choose among them. And I think one of the books this year, Leslie, actually, the first time that she told me about this book, she said it has to be in lit cap. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of books to read. Do you read all of them?
I try to read all of them eventually. I cannot read them all before like October. But yeah, so I'm still working on some books that were part of the festival like years ago. So
my God.
so they all make it on my list. But we have a very large staff, and a lot of us read different types of books that we like, and reviews are really, really helpful.
That's good. Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to curate, because Leslie probably has to read most of those books in order to get a
Leslie,
really
yeah,
good feel.
thanks so much. Yeah.
All right, I'm not sure if Megan's having troubles unmuting, but maybe eventually that will kick in. So we'll just keep on, and of course, if anybody else wants to come on in and say hello or ask any questions, we will do that. I will, I guess, have to let folks know that for the purpose of the recording, we will be cutting out the literary cabaret piece and just keeping the conversation piece. So if you wanted to revisit this, unfortunately, for proprietary reasons, we don't get to rewatch the cabaret itself. We just get to experience the conversation that we've had around the cabaret. So if you were here tonight, you were in the right place at the right time. So out of the books that you read, Sarah, I'm going to ask you to choose your darlings. And
Okay.
like if people had these 6 books in a lineup, and Sarah said, if you only have time to read 2, what 2 would you recommend? I know you have to pick your darlings,
So hard. I know.
because I don't have time to read 6 books, in all
Well, of
honesty.
course,
So I
of
need to
course, of
start
course.
somewhere.
Right. I mean, I would just say for the emotional impact, I would go with Elaine Feeney. I also heard that for some readers, they found the book to be like very approachable. Some other books might be a little bit more like you need a little bit more background and whatnot. So I would go with Elaine for sure. And Elaine is very prolific. I think she might actually have another book out this year or next year as well. And yeah.
Elaine's book is the one that's not available on Audible. Remind folks the title of that book.
Yes, sorry about that. Yeah, so that is called How to Build a Boat. And yeah, and I love her work. And then my other one, oh, Amy, this is so hard. This is like choosing between my plants. Okay, so I will say, I will say just for all of the other research that could possibly be done as you're reading, I would say Loot by Tania James, because there's just so many like of these historical tidbits that you'll just fall into another rabbit hole. So yeah, so just for the multiplication of rabbit holes, I would say Tania James, who was the first author of the group that we came back to after the break.
Part 2. Yeah. I love it. All right, we got a hand from Nancy. Let's see if Nancy can unmute. There we go. We got you, Nancy.
Oh, I could never do that. I really enjoyed the last one. It brought, it was, I'm not a book reader, but, I do want to get that book so I can hear how she died and everything else. And just going back, and it was interesting. He did a wonderful job by reading it to us, and they all did good. And the German one was good, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks, you, Nancy.
Remind Nancy what the name of the last book was called, Sarah.
Yeah, so the last book is called The Librarianist, and it's by Patrick. Yeah.
And is it in audio?
Yes, it is widely available. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I really like. That it was interesting. That it was really good. I don't read books, but that was they all hit really good. I really enjoyed the last one. It was
just get it on an audiobook, Nancy, and then you can play it while you're walking around the house, doing your laundry, washing your dishes, whatever.
There you go.
Yeah. Louise. Louise is a book lover.
Mm-hmm.
Louise has a hand.
Okay. They were good tonight, but I say the first one got my interest the most. Of the first set.
Yeah.
How to Build
I don't
a Boat.
know why. It is something about the way that it was read. Maybe the author. It's the way it's written. I don't know. I can't wait to go read it because it was only the beginning of it, and I think that was. I can't say the name of that one again.
How to Build a Boat.
Yeah, How to Build. And you said that one's on an Audible, so it's like, yeah, this one gonna be hard to get a hold of.
Yes.
Harder, but it'll be around eventually, because I think the Marrakesh Treaty should allow us to get that at some point.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I liked how it jumped around a little bit and gave you sort of, okay, what really happened? You know, all of them do that, but that one especially. I love books, as you said. And the
Mhm.
last one, yes, I can agree. The last one really, okay,
Mhm.
what really happened?
Yeah.
Why, you know, why are they up in the attic?
Mm.
Going for memories. Caught my curiosity. So yeah, all of them are good, but I say those were my two favorites.
What's your favorite genre of books, Louise?
I love a good, oh, what would you, I like a good romance, but I like a good mystery.
Mhm.
I like a combination of love mystery. I love a story that takes you out of the world. It takes you and just it catches you, and it's like the characters are different.
Mm.
It's like I can honestly say from the time I was 13, I was hooked on. I've been hooked on books since I could read print. But first time I could read a book, I remember the very first book I read by audio. And I have never gone back to look for it because I'm scared to read it because I want to hold the memory of it. It was
Yeah.
about a blind woman, a blind girl who was sitting in the park. It was a black blind woman. Oh, what was it called? Something Sky of Blue. I can't even remember the title of it 100%, but it was a story that caught my attention, that blindness and how people treated her. And it was like, I'm not going to be like her. I'm going to be totally different. You know, and that's sometimes I'll look at a book and go and read. When I'm reading, I'm looking for something that's going to take me out of what the world can be.
Right. Mhm. For sure. Thank you so much, Louise. I totally agree. It's just so interesting how authors can just create worlds in that way, right? So
Yeah. It's like I read a lot of books as I was losing my sight in the first few years. I went and I didn't purposely go looking for them. They happened to come into my one I really fell in love with was Light a Single Candle. If anybody's never read that, it was about a 15-year-old girl who was losing her vision and what happened to her. And
okay.
there's sequels to it. And the book was called Light a Single Candle. And it was really good. Then there was one about a woman who gained back her sight when she was blind and a guide dog user. What was her name? Emily, or yeah, I think it's Emily. And I know it was on seal. And I just go, you know, I like stories. I like something that keeps you going.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Louise.
You're welcome. And thank you for coming and bringing it to us because it is always fun
Oh,
to
Mm.
have stories told.
thank
I
you.
love storytelling. I love stories. Oh yeah, not every story catches your ear
Right.
or your heart, but they're all there to be listened to.
There's
Because
so
the
many
writers are for
different
a lot.
kinds. Yep.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Louise. We got a hand from Rita.
Okay, sorry, I was having a bit of a hard time here. So I really liked the Elaine Feeney one. I also liked the guy from Ontario. I think he was the one about the slaves,
Yes.
the third one,
Hi, Thomas. Yes.
and yeah, and then I also liked the one that's happening in India.
Yes, that's
Um,
Tania James. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping that you guys will send, when you send information, you'll send actually a list of the books because, one wants to be able to find them, right?
Right. Rita, can I ask, would it be helpful if we just had a list of the names up in front of the document? Because right now I've listed the books by author, but there's several links like to interviews to Sela and whatnot. Would it be best if I had a separate list just of the 6 books names?
No, that's fine if you have the links and everything and interviews. Oh, those that makes it even more interesting.
Awesome.
Maybe
Thank you.
put the
Yeah.
author's name and then the name of the book, and then put all
Yes.
the links. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
We don't have
really
to
good,
search for the name
actually.
of the book.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, this is a really good um selection, and it's not the kind of thing that I would normally run into, these particular books. So this is really good.
Have you got a genre of book that you love, Rita?
Well, except for horror fiction, which I do not like.
Mm.
I read a lot of things. I read historical, romance, a lot of nonfiction, uh, a lot of animal stories. I think the one Louise was talking about, the guide dog was called Emma, I think. The one that Louise was talking about. I read a lot of things about guide dogs, animals, some science things. I also read a lot of health related things.
Mm.
So it really is a variety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you're good on a
Is it?
trivia team.
Well, I don't know.
You have to be able to recall all that information, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Anyway, but thank you. This was really good this evening.
Thanks,
Thank
Rita.
you.
All
And we
right.
got a hand from Carrie.
Hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to quick add that as a writer and a reader, I love the sample of all these 6 authors and their books. But I also love the cabaret style with the music, as far as multi-artistic methods, right? Like mixing music and mood with the mood of the authors, the stories, and the way they read them. So I just thought each story was so interesting, the way the music was paired and how the author chose the kind of music they wanted, especially the one about the slaves. Yeah, that was really, really beautiful and moving. So thanks for presenting all that stuff that I wouldn't get a chance to see here in my little town in Ontario.
Thank you so much, Carrie.
What about you, Carrie? I gotta ask you if you've got a favorite book genre, because here's where we get to recommend books to each other.
Right. Not really. I like historical stuff. Because I'm a history buff. So yeah, I enjoy history.
What have you been writing lately?
I just had I was a part of a class for the last 6 months, and we just did our reading on Sunday. I think there was 5 of us, so I just wrote a tribute to my friend who died in January. He was a drummer, so I just wrote about that. I do a lot of like memoir type writing, but I
Yeah.
like writing fiction. It challenges me because I'm more naturally a memoir writer, but when I've written fiction, I've really liked it and what I come up with. So I like the challenge, and all these fiction authors always inspire me to try it, because I'm always like, oh, I don't know, I don't have an imagination to come up with these worlds like these writers do, but sometimes an idea strikes you and you're able to run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, my condolences to you. I know it's hard when a friend passes.
Yeah, it was very sudden.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, Sarah, what are the plans for the 2024 Writers Fest? Can you share anything, or where are you in the process of planning, or what is it? What do you think it looks like for the 37th annual one?
I think that's a great question. I'd like to say everything is going to stay the same. We'll probably have the same amount, so like 115 authors. Usually we have a third from Canada, a third from BC, and a third international. And it looks like it's going to be still all in person, with the pandemic, and yeah, and our mainstay events like the afternoon tea, the literary cabaret, poetry bash, they're all gonna stay. We're at, like I say we're at the climax, but the climax is usually at the beginning for me, because that's where you have the meetings with publishers so they can tell you what's, really exciting for this year. But the actual planning and slotting people into panels and talks and making these events, they actually happen during the summer. We have year-round events. So like we're still putting on some events during the spring. We have a free series called Insight with the Vancouver Public Library. And we have some special events this spring as well. So next month, Michael Ondate is coming with his new book of poetry. So that's really exciting. And then Wade Davis is coming with nonfiction. And and we're always trying to get as many as many events as possible. We have very exciting, I don't know if some folks are into nonfiction books about mental health, but the spouse of our prime minister, so Sophie Trudeau, has a new book out soon, and she'll be in conversation with Dr. Gabor Mate here in Vancouver in the spring. So all really exciting.
That's really, really, really great. These are lovely events. And you record the Literary Cabaret. Do you record any of the other events?
Yeah, so we actually have, I would say like at least half, if not a little bit more than half, are recorded. So we can try to make what is called a digital festival. So it's kind of like a rerun of these events during the month of December and January. So yes, we do record many of them, and we have a whole production team behind that who know the cameras, who know the stage design and all of that. So they really care about the audio, the video, and everything. So we do record a lot, and our free Insight series is on our YouTube page. So those are also recorded.
So if you're sitting around in December, January with nothing to do because it's cold out or rainy out or dark out or all of those things that keep us bundled in our homes, or just because it's cold and flu season and all the other nasty things, checking out the digital festival is a great thing. I know that we gave out some digital festival passes as part of our prize draw last year. So some folks took advantage of that as well. This has been fun, Sarah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
I look forward to this every year, and all very generous with us. So we really appreciate it.
As do we. So thank you so much for joining us in the Almost Live space. And you'll be coming back for the capture photography tour.
Yes.
Yeah. So that'll be great.
I'm really excited. So more storytelling.
More storytelling. Awesome.
Yes.
All right, my friend. Well, I'm gonna wish you a lovely evening, and we'll see you not so long from now. Not as long as it was the last time since we saw you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have yourself a wonderful night.
Thank you, Amy, and have a great night. Bye.
VocalEye, vocaleye.ca. Special thanks to our funders, the Canada Council for the Arts, the British Columbia Arts Council, the Province of British Columbia, and the City of Vancouver.